Would you like to begin a series of strategies that will propel you into achieving personal mastery? Do you desire to have breakthroughs in unlocking your potential? Do you seek to live a life that is full of joy, peace, and happiness? Each week, join Charles and Demetrius as they share tools and strategies that will help you take control of your life so you can live a life of peace, joy, and abundance. Now here are your hosts, Charles and Demetrius.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of Inner Success Radio. This is Chuck and Demetrius back for another exciting show with another amazing guest. Demetrius, what's going on, man?
Everything is good, Charles. Everything is good. We made it. How excited are you, bro?
Super excited, man. Can't wait to get into today's interview.
All right. So as we typically do, I mean, what are you most excited about? I saw your message earlier. It sounds like you're pretty excited about our guest that we have for everybody today. What's the one thing that stands out?
Well, I think with that Anmol, his expertise is something I don't think we've ever had on the show before. Okay. I know one of the topics we always talk about is wealth, but I don't think we've ever had somebody specifically geared towards ways of creating wealth. So that's what I'm particularly interested in. Seeing what we can.
I'm excited too, man.
Dig up, yes sir. And Ma, how you doing, man?
Perfect. How are you guys doing?
We're doing amazing. Welcome to Inner Success Radio. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right, Demetrius, sir, go ahead and take us away with the question of the day.
All right, fantastic, fellas. We got something. Keep it really simple tonight. Well, today, actually. Here's the quote. I want to hear what you guys think about it. It says, "You can lose yourself trying to please everyone, but you can also lose everyone trying to find yourself." And I'm going to read this again, and you guys could just give me your personal take on it, but I'm going to read it again. We do have a lot of our listeners that listen to us while running on the treadmill at the gym, and we also have a nice amount of people that listen to us on their way to work that aren't able to write down the question. So, again, the statement is, you can lose yourself trying to please everyone, but you can also lose everyone trying to find yourself. Chuck, what does that statement mean to you?
That's deep, man. It says a lot, especially the part where we lose people when we try to find ourselves, and I think ultimately that has to do with us not necessarily separating ourselves from the masses, but sometimes we end up on these paths, and the paths force us to grow outside of what we're used to. And that makes the people in our circle uncomfortable. And usually what happens is either they'll grow with us, or they'll start to, or the people that are around us will start to kind of dwindle away. And it's not that it's something that we're forcing or we're intentionally doing it, but we're growing so much is that our consciousness and our awareness is growing. And some of the same interests that we had that connected us as friends and family or whatever, we no longer have those same connections and those same things that we grew up. So I think ultimately it means, for me personally, that once we're on a particular path and we're growing and we're reading and learning different skills and developing ourselves, that sometimes we'll lose some of those friends and family that has been there since the beginning.
And that's really powerful. And like you mentioned earlier, we do have a lot of specifically entrepreneurs. They have it like real, because you have to really hone in and you got to really focus in on when you're mastering your craft. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum, so I definitely respect and salute your take on that statement there. So we're gonna go over to Anmol. What does the statement mean to you? You can lose yourself trying to please everyone, but you can also lose everyone trying to find yourself.
I think what that means to me is that people need to do what they think and what their opinion, suggests they should do. Because what happens more often in business and entrepreneurship is people try and please everybody, right? They try and please every single customer, and they try and meet every customer's need. But what actually ends up happening is they end up harming their own business, because a business needs to have an identity. A person needs to have an identity of what it is and how they perceive things. So I don't think people should try and, please everybody. You should certainly, try and please people, but you should also have a core philosophy or a core methodology by which you operate by. And if that does not meet a criteria for a certain, customer or a certain person, then that's fine. That person is just not right for your business, right? So I think that's what it means to me is, you can definitely lose yourself trying to please everybody. It's happened a lot with a lot of people. They try and do everything, everywhere, every time. But I think that's not the best way to succeed. Is to hone in on what you're really good at, what your beliefs are, and follow through on that. And there'll be people who like you, there'll be people who dislike you. But as long as there's enough people like you, you're gonna do good.
Man, that's really good, Anmol. Some people are gonna like it, some people are not gonna like it, and that right there. What you just said, it was a big, I guess, challenge for me that I had to overcome. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I know when I first got my driver's license, I was the friend that would say, all right, I'm gonna drive everywhere. I wanted to drive everywhere. People try to give me gas money. I'm like, nah, I got it. We could travel close or we can travel far. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to be the person that's driving. And I say that to say that was kind of a perfect parallel to how my life was. Right? There was a point in my life where I was just, trying to help everybody, like even at the expense of me not getting what I need to get done. And, on the flip side of that, and where I'm at right now in my life is, just trying to find yourself. It's very difficult. And like Anmol just mentioned, some people are going to like it and some people are not going to like the new version of yourself, the best version of yourself. But as I always like to say, like, at least in my life in particular, like I believe that you could help the wrong people. Like I really believe that in the core of exactly what my whole life's mission is all about is when I connect with people, sometimes I see myself like, man, you could really be helping the wrong people. And I know that's not the popular concept or popular philosophy, but if you really look at your life, right, some people just don't deserve the help that you're giving them, right? And then when you give that type of help, sometimes there's bad feedback that you get. So if I could just make any charge out to anybody who's listened to our podcast thus far that's answering that question, just really look at the people that you're helping. And if you find that the people that you're helping, they're not appreciative to it or they're not using it for good, I can promise you, there are tons of other people that are right there in arm's distance to you that can actually really deserve your help. So that's my take on the statement, and I want to pass it over to Charles so we can get this interview started.
Thanks, guys, so much for sharing, and thanks, Demetrius, again for. I think personally, that's one of the most powerful question of the days we've had. Where this is going to be episode almost, I think, 45, 46. And out of all 45 or previous episodes or whatnot, this, I think, was the most powerful one that you asked. So thanks again for asking it.
Absolutely.
And Emma, again, thanks so much for coming on to Inner Success Radio. We're really excited. As I mentioned at the top of the show, your particular niche is not something we've had on the past with any of our past guests or past episodes. So I'm really excited. So one of the things that we're always interested in learning is a person's journey, how you ended up where you are today. So tell us a little bit about your journey and tell us a little bit about your business.
Right. So I initially, started, I guess, my entrepreneurial journey. I mean, I started as a kid. I always used to be involved in, things, even just selling stuff to my family members or anybody who visited the house. As a kid, I always had that in me. But it never really, took, I guess, come to fruition until I went to university. So I was initially, born and raised in India. And then I was like, when I was 17, I was like, I have to make a change. I need to, get out of my comfort zone. I need to explore other options. So what I did was I went to London to study in England at Brunel University. So I went there, got out of my comfort zone, brand new country, brand new everything, went there to study. And that's where my entrepreneurial journey really kicked in, because now I'm away from my house, I'm away from my friends. I'm away from my family. I'm away from everything. And there's some good parts about it and bad parts about it. But the good part about it was I had to start fresh, which is a good thing. Because maybe, let's say you didn't have a good childhood, right? Maybe you weren't the most popular kid as growing up. But now you get a chance at a new life, new country, new everything. And that's where my entrepreneurial journey really kicked in. And I took full advantage of it. I attended every networking event I could get my hands on. I attended, every society meeting, entrepreneur society we had in our college. And then what ended up happening was a lot of people were talking about stocks, financial markets, and all that conversation was really hot. And when I used to speak to my friends and ask them, hey, what's your career path? They all used to say, I'm going to apply for Goldman Sachs. I'm going to apply for JP Morgan. And everybody was applying to investment banks. And I personally didn't get it. I was like, hey, why is everybody looking into that career? Right? But then I thought, okay, maybe there's a lot of money in it. That's probably why. Then I started researching into it. I started reading books. I started, buying courses, and I just really dove in and studying about the financial markets. And I also started, a society or a club in my own university for a trading and investing society that really took off. And that was kind of my journey where I got the curiosity and the interest to dive into financial markets. And I had a little money saved up. I started trading right from my dorm room, had no idea what I was doing, lost pretty much all money that I had in my first year because I was pretty much gambling, thinking, it's trading, but it was not. And, then that little knockdown really taught me that, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to get educated. I need to get, training. And I started looking and seeking different traders, different mentors who could help me along my way. And, that's kind of how the journey really initially kicked in.
Now, I think one of the, and a personal belief I have is in order to be successful in business, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. So when you initially got started in trading, was it more so for the money, or as you started to research that you felt yourself becoming more passionate about it, or was it a combination of the two?
Great question. That's a really good question because, some people think that, they need to have passion right off the bat, but that's not really true. I had no interest in the financial markets before, my university. I was not even remotely interested. It didn't even cross my mind that I'd have a career as a trader. I was not passionate about it. I hated anything to do with numbers. I was horrible in school at math, and I wanted nothing to do with numbers. But just because of the money, right? The money was the initial, interest generation, thing that basically generated interest within me for the markets. It was all about the money. You're watching Boiler Room, you're watching Wall Street, you're watching all these movies, and you know that, okay, clearly there's money involved. So that piqued my interest. But then when I started researching into it, when I started reading more about it, that's when the passion slowly develops. And I think that's one thing that people, don't realize, because a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of budding, aspiring entrepreneurs, they think, man, I really want to open up a business. I really want to become an entrepreneur, but I'm not I don't know what my passion is. And to be honest, no one really is, I wouldn't say no one, but not many people are born with a passion. Until you do something and then you enjoy doing it, that's where the passion develops. And that's how the passion developed for me. As I did more research, as I, I used to write a blog as well. And, Yahoo Finance and, other websites used to pay me while I was in college to write them articles, for Yahoo Finance. And when I used to write them, the interest just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that slowly turned into a passion.
Now, do you think that can be the case for anybody who wants to, say, for example, like for me, I have no interest in golf whatsoever, right? But say, for example, I wake up one day, let me just go ahead and read this book on golf, or let me go ahead and attend a golf tournament. And I eventually develop a passion for it. Now, do you think by the consumption, so I guess my ultimate question is, do you think by the consumption of information for any particular field or niche that people can develop a passion for it, or you still would have to have some type of level of interest in it?
Right. I think, you still need to have like a innate interest, inside of you for that particular thing. However, you might not know that you have interest for that, right? You might have a hidden passion that you don't know ever exists. But until you actually go out and do that thing or research, or consume more content about that thing, then you could probably be a better judge of, do I have passion for this or not? So, let's use golf as an example, right? I always wanted to play golf. It just I have a good interest in golf, right? And I always thought, man, I really want to become good at golf, and I want to take private lessons. I want to do all of this. And, I went to the driving range, with my friends. We would driving, and it was just frustrating for me, right? And I thought, okay, so what seemed like a passion or what seemed like an interest is not really, right? And then it happened with trading the opposite way. I thought, okay, there's no way I can ever be, good at trading or anything to do with numbers for that matter. But then I dive in and I start enjoying it. So I think people also, more than just consuming content, they need to actually start, doing it. And soon they will realize it takes time to, figure out what your passion really is. And sometimes it's not what you think, right? So I think people need to definitely consume content. They need to practice that. And they need to just, take a step back and think, 5 years from now, if I'm still doing this, would I be happy, right? And that's when you will get your answer. For me, if I think about, all right, 5 years from now, I'm still in front of my computer, I'm managing the firm, I'm trading, I'm teaching others how to do this. Am I satisfied with that life? Do I feel happy? Is there a happiness in my face when I think about that 5 years from now? And I said, yeah, that it actually is. I'd be happy with it, right? So then you know what your passion really is. But if you're sitting in a cubicle working 9 to 5, and then you're imagining 5 years from now, would I be happy doing that? And you're not really smiling, then that's not really your passion.
All right. And where in the world are you, Anmol?
Right now, I'm in New York.
Oh, you're in New York. How long you been in New York for?
I moved to New York this year. So, for the last couple of years, I've been planning a move. So I was in London, for about 5 years. And I was planning, okay, I want to move to New York because every single work that I do is involved with the stock market and the U.S. stock market for that matter, right? All my clients are in the U.S. All my, customers are in the U.S. All my students are in the U.S. I trade the U.S. market. So it just didn't make sense for me to trade the U.S. market in a, in a London time zone. So I thought, what, it's much better for me to make the move. So for a couple of years, I've been going back and forth between New York, and then this year I finally, made a move.
Man, that's awesome. And how long have you been in business for?
Well, in my personal trading, I've been personally trading since 2010. That's when I've been personally, trading professionally. But as far as my firm is concerned, we started this in 2015, 1st Jan.
All right, nice, man. And the reason why I was asking you that question, Anmol, is because how crazy is that with, technology and social media? I mean, whether you're in London or you're in New York or you decide to go to Australia, you can actually still run your business. I mean, I know you're not around the synergy like you could be in New York, but how crazy is that with does the technology, the Snapchats, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the YouTubes, how does that that convenience play in your type of business? Is it like a crutch, or is it a good thing, like a cool thing?
No, it's amazing because, I am not tied to one location, right? Because if I was running a physical business, I'd be like, man, I don't know if I can move from London to New York. What about my office? What about my business? What about employees? But when you're running, especially, and this is more relating to an online business, because entrepreneurship, you could have a physical business, right, in a location, then you're going to be tied up to it. But with an online business, trading, or be it you're doing e-commerce, be it you're doing your podcast and, all that, with that, the freedom is great because I can pack up. I mean, next in Feb, I'm going to London and I'm going to be traveling Europe through my, through my trip.
And still running your business.
Exactly, because I have this external USB monitor and my MacBook Pro, so I carry that both. So I do need an additional screen because of the nature of my work, but especially for any other online business related person, you don't even need an extra screen. I need an extra screen because I'm trading. So I carry this external monitor, I carry my laptop, right, and I can carry my Wi-Fi hotspot. I'm good to go. That's my office. Anywhere I can find a desk, be it any Starbucks, I can plant that there and I'm back in business.
And that's super awesome, man. And I'm pretty sure your business model that you had back in 2010 is, maybe not completely different. I'm sure the core is still there. But hasn't that really developed since 2010 when you first got started? Or were you able to do that back then as well?
It's developed over time. When I started, I hated traveling and trading because, I just didn't have that, I guess, quick ability, to take all that information and convert it into a tradable idea back then. Because back then I used to have 4 monitors, right? Even right now in my home office I have monitors, but back then I was reliant too much on those 4 monitors because that's how I was taught. But slowly and gradually, 4 monitors, I cut it down to 3, then to 2, then now I'm even good with 1 monitor, which could even be my laptop. So it has definitely developed over time. In 2010, I used to trade more. So I would trade from 9:30 all the way till 4 p.m. until the market closes. Over time, that's developed into honing a strategy where I'm literally trading for the first 30 minutes to an hour of the day. And then I have the rest of the day to focus on either the business part of it or, other investments.
Nice.
And so what type of a particular trading do you focus on? Because something that's come across my Facebook timeline and that's come across my desk a couple of times is the stock options trading. And it seems like it's difficult, but I'm friends with a guy on Facebook who's a very successful stock options trader, and he's always posting his results. So for people who have a particular interest in stock options trading, can you tell us what that particularly is and whether or not anybody can do it, or do you have to have some type of particular knowledge to do stock options trading?
Right. So, in a nutshell, all the trading is the same. Whether you trade stocks, whether you trade options, whether you trade Forex. In essence, in a nutshell, once you know how to trade, once you know how to read charts, and once you know how to read the trends and the price action, you can essentially trade anything. You can even trade Bitcoins, right? Using the same strategies. So the same strategies that work in stocks work in options, work in Forex, work in anything. So I personally, I call myself just a trader. I don't define myself as a stock trader or a Forex trader. I'm just a trader. I will trade anything, right? I will trade wherever the opportunity presents. So one day I'll be trading oil. Next day I'll be trading the stock of Microsoft, right? Next day I'll be trading the pound dollar. Next day I'll be trading oil. So it really depends on where I can find the opportunity. So in a nutshell, stocks is you trading the shares in the company, whereas Forex is you trading the currency, one country's currency against the other, right? And then options is basically you placing a bet on the future price of that stock. So, I don't want to dive too much into it to confuse the listeners, but you're basically saying, you can buy 100 shares of Microsoft right now, or you could say, I want to buy Microsoft $60 call options for January 2017. So what you're basically buying is the right to buy Amazon stock for $60 in 2017. That's what you're buying. So you're not actually buying the stock. You're just buying the right to buy it at $60 next year. So let's say you buy that option and now Microsoft suddenly goes to $90 a share. You can still use your option and buy it. You can exercise that option and buy Microsoft for $60 and sell it at $90. So you're just basically buying the right to buy that stock at a future date.
And isn't that isn't that safer than just trading regular stocks?
100%. Options are way more safer than stocks, right? Now, options, however, are meant more for holding for more than a day. So if you want to buy a stock, hold it for like a week, 100% options are a better way to go. If you're buying a stock, selling it 3 days from now, options are still better. The only time stocks are, I would say, better than options is day trading. So you want to buy and you want to sell the same day. Then stocks are way better. But otherwise, options are much more safer because your risk is defined. Because in a stock, if you buy 100 shares of Microsoft at $60, and let's say Microsoft goes to zero, which is not going to happen, but let's assume it does, you're going to lose, that money. You're going to lose, $6,000, right? Whereas if you buy the option at, let's say, $100, then $100 is what you're going to lose. You're not going to lose more than that. So I hope I didn't confuse everybody.
No. And I know people sometimes will revert to, and so is trading options the same thing as day trading, or are those two different things?
So day trading could be anything. Day trading is when you buy and sell the same day. So when you open a trade and you close the trade within the same day, that's known as day trading. So you could day trade options too. You can day trade stocks. You can day trade forex. The day trading is when you just buy something and you sell it the same day. When you buy something and you hold it for till the next day, then that's no longer a day trade, right? A day trade has to be closed the same day as it's opened.
Gotcha.
Do you remember your first client?
First client? Yes, I do. He's actually
tell us a little bit about that. I'm interested.
Right. So my first client was before I even started, livetraders.com. I used to write a blog, livetraders.org. It's like a really old blog, which was just me venting my thoughts on markets, and I wasn't really selling anything at that point. But then, I slowly created an ebook of some of my trading strategies. And I remember my first client, I wasn't even expecting it. I was just, busy trading and, writing articles. And I put up an ebook, compiled an ebook, put it on the website, and, put up a PayPal link. I didn't even expect anybody to buy it. And then one day I wake up and I'm like, okay, there's sales $97. I don't know who bought $97. Then I checked it out, and then that was good. And I still remember that client because he's still a client even 6 years after.
Wow, so he's been trading with you for 6 years.
Yes, sir.
Wow. All right, so here's a question that I'm also interested to know. As a trader, like what are I guess what was your I don't want to say mistake, I don't want to say challenge. I'm interested to know with somebody in that profession that's been as long as you have been, like what was the biggest mishap that you've experienced as a trader?
I didn't have my mind right. So, because of that, I had many mishaps. I wasted a whole first year of my trading because the first year of my trading, I didn't make a dime, right? I didn't make a cent, probably lost money, right? And all that time spent for the whole first year of my trading. And that's because I didn't have my mind right. I was, holding my losses beyond what I should have. So if I intended to lose maybe $200 on a trade, I was losing 2,000. And I was not taking my loss. And the biggest mishap was when I let my ego get in the way of my profits. Because all the winning trades, I'm like, oh, I'm up $50, I'm up $100. And I was taking those little tiny itsy bitsy gains. But a losing trade, I would never take a loss. I just keep holding it. And that loss turned into a bigger loss. $100 turned into $500 loss, turned into $1,000 loss, turned into $2,000 loss. And, that just kept me, whole year was a battle, right, of tiny little gains. I would have 10 gains in a row, but that one loss would wipe all those gains. And that happened over and over and over for the whole first year of my trading until I finally, got my head right. And, that's when everything changed.
All right. I've one of my business partners, Amy, she introduced me to a really, really successful trader like maybe more than 5 years ago. And he recently passed away about a year ago. I used to always go to his elderly guy, but this guy was loaded in the market. And he would give me, tips, advice. I did really, really well. But however, then I started thinking to myself, like, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm basically putting my investment, my money into other companies. So there was a point where I said, you know what? I'm going to cash this thing all out, and I'm going to start putting every single dollar into my own empire, my own business. I say that to ask this question. I have a few buddies that do professional gambling. I also have a few buddies that do trading. Is there a difference as far as mindset is concerned and, long-term game, like between gambling on whether it's professional sports or trading? Or are they pretty much the same when you're talking about concept and direction?
Well, in fundamental ways, they are, obviously different. However, the mindset is still the same. You still need to have the right mindset. Often, I see a lot of traders, the ones that are really successful, have had a past of professional poker, right? We have a member in our trading community who was on World Series of Poker. He came 11th. That's big. That was $1 million, gains. He came 11th position, and now he's a trader, and he's a great trader. Why? Because he has that mindset, risk-taking mindset, as well as a statistically probable mindset. Because trading is, I don't know what a stock's going to do. When I'm getting in a stock, I have no idea what that's going to do. Right? I'm playing statistics. Okay, my trading statistics show I'm going to win 50% of my trades. I'm also going to lose 50% of my trades. However, as long as my winners are 2 times my losers, statistically it's impossible not to make money. So we're just playing statistics, right? And the people who come with that mindset actually have a much higher chance of, becoming successful trader. We have tons of poker players now who are trading successfully, and the reason for that is because of their mindset. They have the ability to take the risk, and they have the ability to follow the plan. Because losses are going to happen. I lost money today, right? But then yesterday I made money. But yesterday what I made was more than what I lost today, right? And as long as we keep that up, where our gains are bigger than our losses, statistically you are going to make money. I mean, think about it. I win 50% of my trades and I lose 50% of my trades, okay? But I'm winning 2 times what I'm losing on my losing trades. So let's say my losing trades are 1,000, my winning trades are 2,000. Even with a 50% batting average, right? 50% win rate, I'm still going to make money, right? Lose 1,000, lose 1,000, lose 1,000, win 2,000, win 2,000, win 2,000, lose 1,000, lose 1,000, win 2,000. And over end of the month, you're going to be profitable by a pretty huge margin. So I think that's the kind of mindset you need. And the people who lose or people who don't make it in trading are because their winners are the equal amount as their losers, or the losers are bigger than the winners.
Yeah, and it always helps to have somebody like yourself and what your firm is doing, as your eyes and, as your hands to feel things out. And I always say, like, people who do the scratch offs and people who do gambling, especially illegal gambling, wouldn't it be safe to say that you have more control, even though the concept is kind of the same, right? Wouldn't it be kind of safe to say, like, if you're doing a scratch off or if you're betting on a poker game, can't you predict your success a little bit better when you're doing actual real trading?
100%.
You can kind of predict, right?
100%. I mean, trading, I would say, is the closest to poker, but not any other style. Any other form of gambling is actually gambling, right? Because poker is not really gambling. Poker has statistics and odds. If you really understand it, it's a beautiful game. Most people think it's gambling because they don't know the intricacies of how there are edges in poker that you can use to make consistent money. I've seen it firsthand with my buddy, now who's my buddy, but he was my student earlier, right? He's a professional poker player. There's nobody better than him that I met. 11th in World Series of Poker, right? Made $1 million. And the reason for that is because he told me these little things, and there exists edges. The only thing people need to do is they need to look beyond the surface of the rules of poker and really look at the statistic side of things, and you'll start seeing things. Now scratch off, roulette, blackjack, those things are gambling. There are no edges in that. Maybe in blackjack there's a 1% edge possible, but any other form of gambling is actually gambling. There's no edge in it. But the trading, the reason why you can control the edge in your favor is because you can get out when you want to, right? Because when you place a bet, you place that bet on a roulette table, right? You place that bet, it's all or nothing. Either you're going to win, either you're going to lose. There's no getting out. Whereas in trading, you get in a position, and let's say it's not going where you intended it to go, it's going a little bit against you. You don't have to hold it. You can get out, right? You're down $50. Take that little loser, get out, right? And the trades that instantly are going in your favor, hold on to them, right? You don't get out of those. So in trading, you can control that edge. You can tweak it. You can get out when you want to. You can get in when you want to. And you can choose not to trade at all. So, for example, one day, just last week, markets were really choppy. I was like, you know what, guys? I don't see any edge in this. I don't want to just push the button randomly. I'm not going to trade that day, right? I didn't trade that day. So you can make that choice in trading, which gives you that flexibility to tweak the odds in your favor.
All right, nice. And my last one was, I used to do Share Builder, which is obviously now, I believe it's Capital One Investing, right? Mm-hmm. What's your take on those type of those ways of trading? Do you recommend that people do it on their own? Have you seen a lot of success, or is your firm like I'm still trying to understand, like, what exactly do I do if I'm a client of yours? Like, do you help me? Do I not need a Share Builder or a Capital One type of program, and I could just go and dump some money to you, or how does that work really?
Right. So my number one suggestion would be for people, if you do want to get involved with trading, be it stocks, be it forex, be it options, there are 2 things you need to consider and figure out. One thing is, do you just want to be involved with the stock market to increase your investment? Maybe you have a little account that you want to grow, right? And maybe you just want to create some passive income. You're working, you have another job, you have something else going on, which is your business, and you just want to, create some extra cash flow or build an account. Is that what you want to do? Or is trading something you want to take up as a career? So first thing, people need to differentiate that, because if you want to do this as a career, which is do this full time, then that's a different path. Whereas if you want to do this just to grow an account, maybe get an additional $1,000 here and there a month, passive income, then that's a different thing. So for people who want to, I would say, do this passively, we have programs for that. We have a newsletter that we send out. And it's like ridiculous. It's like $97 a month. And in that newsletter, what I do is I analyze the markets, right? 30 minutes or so video. And I send that video out each and every week to our members, analyzing the markets. But then what I also do, which is helpful to a lot of people, and that's why we have a lot of members, is I give people the trades that I'm going to be taking in my own account, right? And I'll just type in, hey guys, I'm looking to buy Microsoft at $59.10. That's where my buy order is. And my protective stop loss, which is, if I'm wrong, I'm going to get out at 58. So if I'm getting in at 59.10, if it goes to 58, I'm going to be getting out. I'm going to be taking my loss, and my target is 65. And I'll send it out in that format. And a lot of people who have no desire to learn trading, what they simply do is they just simply follow my trades. So if they're following my trades, what are they going to get? Well, they're going to get the exact returns that I get. Nice. Right? And that's the best part. And what people need to realize is, if they're following me, they have to follow me to the T, right? If I've given a target, get out at the target. Don't try and see, maybe I can get a little bit more, right? Maybe I can beat Anmol. Or if they give a loss limit, if it hits that, take your loss and get out. The people who mess up say, you know what, Anmol got out of the trade, he took his little loss, but I'm going to hold it. Maybe it comes back. Those are the people who never make it.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. And so so I can do the math, play out the math in my head. So say, for example, in that example you gave, so $58 or $59, if it goes down to 58, you sell. If it goes up to 65, you sell.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. So what's the, a lot of talk has came up recently about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins. What's the future looking like for Bitcoin, and should investors or people looking to get investing, should they start looking towards investing in Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies?
So, the Bitcoins is a tough one, because as a concept, I love the concept. It's a great concept, right? It's a brilliant concept. It makes a lot of sense for Bitcoins to really, go up in value and to be widely accepted. And the reasons are, there are a lot of reasons why Bitcoins should, be a good currency. And mainly the reasons are chargebacks. Online businesses and even regular businesses like Starbucks or McDonald's, they accept credit cards everywhere. They accept debit card. But what you don't know is that businesses like Starbucks, McDonald's, they lose 25% of their revenue due to chargebacks, right? Credit card chargebacks. People come in, call and, hey, I didn't make that purchase, and then they charge it back. And businesses lose 25% of their annual revenue due to chargebacks. With Bitcoins, there are no chargebacks, because once you've made that payment, you've made it yourself. Nobody else can make it on your behalf. So there's no way you can charge it back. So for businesses, even there are some Starbucks, even in New York, that have started accepting Bitcoins at Starbucks, right? And they are giving people 10% discount if you pay using Bitcoins. Think about it, right? So if they're giving anybody 10% discount for using Bitcoins, that tells you that the fact that they're losing more than 10% on chargeback, right? So that fact is verified, and that makes a lot of sense for businesses to use Bitcoins. Another benefit is obviously the speed of transaction. If I want to send, let's say I want to buy a property in London, recently, for example, I just bought a property here in New York, and I wanted to transfer, let's say, $1 million from, my Indian account to, my New York account. They made me sign all these papers. They made me sign all these documents. I had to sign this, sign that. And it took a week, and now, I can get my money, right? Look at the speed of transaction. 1 week to get what was mine, which is ridiculous. With a Bitcoin, I could send $1 million, $10 million, whatever the amount might be, in a fraction of a second. I could send you right now $2 million and you'd get it instantaneously. No paper signing, nothing, instant speed of transaction. And again, so now you're saying, well, the advantages to using Bitcoins is faster transaction, right? And you're going to be less chargebacks. And also cost is doing low. Cost is ridiculous, zero. Because if you use credit cards and if you have an online business, you're accepting credit cards, or even if you're accepting credit cards at Starbucks, Visa, MasterCard, they charge you 1%, 2%, 3%, transaction fee. Bitcoin's free. So fundamentally, the case for Bitcoins to go up is a lot, but I think there's still going to be at least minimum 10 years before people will see any, increment in a value of the Bitcoin. So as an investor, I would certainly stay away as of now. If you want to use Bitcoins for your business, makes a lot of sense. But investing in the price of the Bitcoin, I would stay away. It's too volatile. It's not worth the risk.
And the price of Bitcoin is pretty high right now, isn't it? Is that the case? Yeah,
it's pretty high. But you never know. It could go higher because you look at the stock of Visa and MasterCard when they started, and look at them now. They've had 50 times of when they started the stock market. So Bitcoins can do the same. It's a currency. And but the only thing is the legal stuff. The Federal Reserve could come one day and say this is a blacklist this currency, and now boom, it could be gone in one day. So that's the risk when you invest in Bitcoins.
Yeah. Do you believe in, I'd say in about 20 or 30 years, that paper money will no longer exist? Everything is going to be electronic?
Absolutely. I would not say 20 years, but definitely in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Definitely in our lifetime, paper money is slowly getting out. Even in India, in a country like India, where cash is king. Cash. Everybody uses cash. Most of the population don't even have bank accounts, credit cards. But the government came out just last week and they banned, like a 500 rupee note, and they banned $1,000 kind of notes. And now they're coming up with $2,000 notes. So they're also slowly getting rid of currencies. So I don't know about 20, 30 years, but definitely in our lifetime, we will see. It's already happening. I make most of my purchases online, right?
Yeah.
Through credit card, or even through Android Pay or Apple Pay or whatever. So that's where the trend is going to go. And I would go as far as to say even cards might go away, right? People will just have it stored on their Apple Pay or Android Pay on their phones, and they just pay using that. Just swipe your phone.
Yeah. Zinta, I actually just linked my my debit card up to Apple Pay. I was against it for a little while, but and it's really convenient. I was at the store today and I used Apple Pay, and it's definitely it's going to send a trend. People are not going to have to walk around with debit cards and credit cards, and Apple Pay has an extra level of security that debit cards don't have. So it's definitely
exactly.
What are some of the skills initially that someone would need to start to develop if they wanted to get into to trading stocks?
Right. I mean, they need to get their mind right. You need to be mentally a very disciplined and a strong person to become a trader. And the reason for that is, markets are moving constantly, and decision making needs to be quick. You can't think about it for a few days, right? You have to make the decision, especially if you're day trading. If you're, doing longer term trading, then that's fine. That's easier. Day trading specifically, you need to have quick decision making ability, and you need to be disciplined as a person. The main reason why most traders fail is the lack of discipline, and that's mainly due to not having a boss, right? And most people are not used to it, because if you're coming from a job environment, right, your boss is going to tell you, okay, here are your duties, here's your responsibilities, here's the things you need to do, and the boss is going to say, don't do this, don't do that, right? And if you do what he says you should not do, you're going to have consequences, right? You're going to get a pay cut, you're going to get fired, if you do something wrong, and you have these consequences. So a person is really disciplined and is able to do what the boss says. With trading, however, you don't have a boss. Even with entrepreneurship, even with whatever you're running your own business, you don't have your boss. You're your own boss. So if you mess up, there's not going to be anybody telling you that you messed up. You got to find that out yourself and take responsibility. and admit to yourself, okay, I did make a mistake. Because, especially with online related businesses or trading, you can make a mistake, close your computer, and nobody will ever find out, right? Nobody will ever know you made a mistake. You can just go about your day and, never admit or never take responsibility. And that's the thing people need to develop is say, okay, I was wrong. That trade was not right. I shouldn't have traded it. All right, let's move on, right? Or if you break your plan, let's say your plan says, if I lose $100, I get out of the trade. If I make 200, I get out of the trade. Just 2-1, right? And if you break the plan, which is if you get out before your price target, or if you don't get out and take the loss when you're wrong, that's a break of your plan. So when you break your plan, you got to have consequences. What I did as a consequence was I donated to a charity that I hated. I mean, there was a George Bush charity, okay? And I lost, I was breaking my trading plan. And every time I broke my trading plan, I was donating to that charity, which I hated. I hated George Bush, okay? And when I was donating to that charity, I was like, man, I need to stop breaking my plan. Not only am I donating $50 every time I'm making a mistake, and I'm also donating to George Bush charity. So you got to have some consequences. And one of my traders, what he used to do was he just had this is not a severe consequence, but he had a rubber band strapped on his wrist. Every time he make a mistake, he'd pull it as far as he could and he'd let it go, right? So just, develop. It's like Pavlov's dog. You got to condition your mind to do the right things.
All right, I like the consequences too. That is really dope. I remember I actually had to dye my hair on my head blonde for a business goal I missed, and I had to dye my beard blonde. It was really crazy. And I had to keep it until we hit the target, which was really cool.
Nice.
Now, yeah, so it's crazy, man. And it was real permanent, not rinsable. It was permanent. All right, here's my next question for you, Anmol. You talk a lot about getting your mind right. I'm curious to know, do you read books?
Oh, I read a lot of books. And
all right, so what books do you read that you can recommend to us, or what life principles do you stand on? Either or.
I mean, one book I would recommend is Mindset by Carol Dweck, right? So it's a great book. It just teaches you how to think. And it's nothing really exciting about that book, and I can save you the trouble of reading it. It basically, it teaches you about developing the mindset for growth. So rather than saying, oh, this was wrong, oh, that was wrong, thinking in a way which says, okay, that was wrong, but how can we make that right? So like turning every negative thing into a positive outcome that can grow your mind or grow your outcome. So you could say, you know what, man, that was a bad business decision, right? Yeah, that shouldn't have been made. And a lot of people do that. They lament over the things they shouldn't have done. Oh, I made a wrong decision. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Whereas the book will tell you, okay, what should I have done? Right? So asking the questions in a different way. What should I have done? What could I have done to not get that negative outcome? Or what could I have done to get that positive outcome? So just framing your own internal dialogue and your own internal questions in that way really develops a powerful mindset.
All right, so I got mindset. Let me get one more before I ask another question. Give me another book recommendation.
Another one I would say,
for mindset.
You can read the 10X book by my man Grant Cardone. You can read the book there. That's a pretty good one as well. It basically teaches you that combined with another book, The Power of the Magic of Thinking Big, which are pretty much the same concepts. It is that have big goals. Sometimes your goals are way too small, and there's nothing worse than having a tiny little goal and hitting it, right? You should have big goals and always fall short of it. I never hit my goals because I set ridiculous goals, right? But when I set ridiculous goals, they will still be bigger than had I initially just set a realistic goal. Nothing worse than, setting a small goal and hitting it. Always set big goals and, maybe you hit 60% of it.
Love it. All right, here's another one. Obviously there's scams in almost every profession out there. Are there any red flags that we should be aware of when it comes to investing money in the trading market?
100%. A lot of scams in the trading market. And I would say that's one of the markets where the most amount of scams exist. And because there's no regulation. So the number one things you need to look out for, be it my company, be it any other company, is to keep in mind the person's track record, right? It all starts with Google. First, you Google that person's name or the company's name. Second thing you need to do is the person who's actually teaching you how to trade, does he have a track record, right? With our team, we have a track record going back since the day we started. Every single trade that we've ever called in the newsletter or in the chat room is tracked in a spreadsheet so they can see the full statistics, right? And all trades, if especially this is more relating to trading market, is, well, okay, that's fine if that person or that company called that trade, but was there enough time for me to follow, right? Because you could call a trade and by the time you look at it, it's already up $10. You're like, well, there's no way I can follow that, right? So you need to be able to follow it, okay? You need to, company or the trader needs to have a track record, okay? And they should be willing to share that publicly and not make any excuses. And number 3, go to my best friend Google, find out what the person has been up to, his past successes, past failures, where well all has he been on. And I think that's where it all starts. Number 1 thing is track record. That would eliminate 99% of the trading companies out there.
That's perfect. Well, Anmol, we're going to start to wind down here. So again, we want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. I want to shift the focus slightly, just a little bit, and talk a little bit more about what you offer specifically. I know we mentioned it throughout this today's interview, but you know, if I go to your website and I sign up for your program, what will I get specifically?
Right. So we, you know, in our company we have various things for, you know, different things for different people. And my first suggestion would be, before you purchase or buy anything from our site, first thing you need to do is to go to the website livetraders.com and download the free ebook, right? Read the free ebook, read the free blog post, and first find out if trading is even for you. Because you might read the book, you might read the blog post, and you might realize, you know what? Yeah, I'm not interested in it. That's not my passion. Or, you know, trading's not for me. And that's fine, because I'd rather you do that than purchase something and not be happy with it. So first find out, read the free ebook on the website, read the blog post, find out if trading's right for you, right? And then there's a trading quiz on our website that when you take that trading quiz, it'll guide you to which program is right for you. And that's how you would start. And another thing is we offer a free 15-minute consultation. You can call the number on our website. A member of our team is going to pick up the phone. He's going to talk with you, find out your goals, find out what you really need, and guide you in that right step, right? Because as I said, if you want to become a full-time trader, then we're going to guide you into that direction. If you want to just generate passive income, you just want the newsletter, we guide you in that way, right? So a 15-minute consultation is perfect because, you know, a lot of traders call us, and you know, a lot of traders we've turned away. We say, you know what? By talking to you, we get the feel that, you know, maybe trading is not right for you at this point. So then we don't recommend them a program, because we're not here to just sell course after course, because we also fund traders. The traders who are good, who have talent, I give them my own capital. I give them my money. Here you go, trade my money. In exchange, give me 20% of what you make. But I'll give them my money. So I want to be attracting talent that has the potential for that. So that's why we turn away a lot of people. And the first thing people need to do is just head on over to the website, livetraders.com, download the ebook, call us, take the trading challenge, and you'll get the direction on where to start.
And I like how you don't accept everybody into your program, right? Because it seems like you have your business integrity intact. You know, you're not just in it for the money. You generally want to help people, and if by you questioning them or them going through the quiz and you realizing, hey, this person may not be particularly right now ready for trading, you'll let them know that so they don't waste money and time, you know, investing in your program.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we actually opened this whole talk with, right? Trying to please everybody versus trying to, you know, please that. It's the same concept, you know, not try and sell everybody out there, right? Just attract the right people, good enough for you, where you're happy, they're happy, and that's what generates positive, customer relation. I mean, you Google us, there's not a single negative review because every person we vetted.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. All right. All right. So here's a question for you. If you mentioned earlier that with your monthly package, I think you said it was what, $97 a month?
That's correct. If you want to be a passive trader, just get the trades and newsletter.
Okay, and I actually, I'm sure there's a whole bunch more that's included in that package. However, the one thing that I really liked is that, I guess you said every single week you're coming up you have this video just for your members, like, hey guys, this is where we're headed this week. This is what we're going to do. And this is what the target we're shooting for. This is the target we're going to pull out. Now, do you have, you were very clear when you said, now you got to follow this exactly to the T. You can't say, well, I'm going to stick in a little bit longer than Anmol because I want to, I have a better feeling than he does on this one. Have you had, tell us about maybe a success story or maybe a one of your greatest joys that you've had thus far in your industry where somebody did follow every week. They followed exactly what you did to a T, and they're creating some fabulous results.
Right. The biggest example of that actually can be found on my Twitter feed. Right? If you go to my Twitter feed, you'll see different members tweeting their results. They'll be tweeting their own account numbers, their own account statements, right? Because we encourage everybody be transparent. So you go to a Twitter feed and people are posting their own account statements and saying, hey, thanks to me or my company, I've been following their trades for a while. I'm up 30% on my account, or I'm up 40% on my account while the market's down 1 or 2%. So just seeing that obviously makes my day. And I always retweet it. Whenever they tweet it, I always retweet it back, obviously, so other people can see it. But more importantly, it just gives me a lot of joy when you wake up. And let's say we had a trade that we're in the morning, we wake up and it's like really killing it. We're doing really well on it. And then people start tweeting, hey, I got in with you, here are my results. Here's what I'm making. And, people are posting their profit and loss. One guy just posted, a couple days ago, I'm up $300 on one of the trades. And he has a tiny account. He has $1,000 account. He's up $300. So just seeing that, kind of makes my day. So those results, I think the best, they can be found on our website if you go to the testimonials page. But more than testimonials page, I encourage people to just go on social media and see what people are saying.
All right, and I'm on your Twitter right now, Delta90, and it shows here that you have a Snapchat. Now, I've been having the only person that's in my ear constantly that I'm listening to that's been selling Snapchat is a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. Maybe you've heard of him. What should I expect from your Snapchat? Like, what should we expect when we log in and we connect with you on Snapchat? What should we be expecting?
You should be expecting nothing, because when I started Snapchat, I was really regular with Snapchat, right? Because I was testing it out, and that because of Gary. Gary said, hey, Snapchat's the next thing. What are you doing on Instagram? So I got on Snapchat and I started using it for, like a month, but then it just got old. I can't just be, every time I'm driving a Ferrari, okay, I Snapchat it. I did it once or twice, right? I did it once or twice, but then I'm like, I can't do this every single day. That's not me. I'm not that kind of a person who's just like, hey guys, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'd rather enjoy the thing that I'm actually doing than snap about it. But Instagram is where I guess I'm more active. Twitter.
So tell us about Instagram. What should we expect when we go check you out on Instagram?
When you check out my Instagram, you're going to see two things. One of most likely what you're going to see is quotes, motivational quotes, inspiring quotes. But more than that, the caption is what you want to read. People seem to look at the image and they ignore the caption, because the image is going to be, nice image. It's going to be a quote, really motivational quote to make your day. But the caption is what's more important. My perspective on that quote. Right? And sometimes I write paragraphs. I write like an essay in a caption. Sometimes it might be just a couple of lines. And what you're also going to find occasionally when I'm not posting quotes is, I guess, stuff that I'm up to, right? Stuff that I'm doing. Maybe I am, flying a plane. I'll post that out there or something along those lines. So Instagram is a better way, but it's more motivational. My page is just there to inspire and motivate people and to, I guess, get their mind right, as I started this interview with. That's what my Instagram is for. Twitter is basically a mix of everything, trades that I like. More trading related on Twitter than anything else.
All right, and I do see that you're very active on your Instagram page, Delta90, and the last post I obviously like, but for those of you that are considering checking them out on Instagram, there's a nice little quote. You was talking about that caption. You said people mostly look at the picture. You got this Jack Welch, I guess, quote here, but then you give us a little something. You say, most people just focus on learning new information and learning new things. Don't get me wrong, learning is good, but what will ultimately determine our success is the execution and application of that learning. doing after learning is key. So simple, but so complex. And I'm hitting the follow button right now. And I guess that's a great place that we can, wrap this thing up. Let's pass it over to Charles. And Charles, send us out. Thank you so much, Anmol, for being here, taking time out of your schedule. We wish you nothing but the best of success. And we'll definitely continue to, just keep an eye out on you and send anybody over to you that, you could actually help.
Thanks for having me. It was good being here. And wish you guys all the best for your future ventures as well.
All right, thanks.
Let's go, Charles.
Thanks so much, Anmol. And just for summary purposes, just let us know where we can find you, social media, website, and of course we'll have all the links in the show notes as well. But just so people can hear, where can we find you?
The best way to find me would be, again, through social media, anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or wherever you guys are on social media. My username is the same across all social media, which is Delta90, and we can post that in the show notes. But it's all spelled out in letters, DeltaNinety. And then the website is livetraders.com for anybody interested in trading. If you're not interested in trading, then no point in going there. And you can just follow me on social media and keep up with some of the other things I do.
Awesome. And I always end the show with a final question or / scenario. If you could work or had the opportunity to work with anybody currently living, and it doesn't have to necessarily be somebody who's like a successful trader, who would you work with and why?
I would work with, tough one to say, but I'm going to go ahead and say Warren Buffett, just because of his wealth of expertise, not relating to trading, but just the whole general economy. He knows about companies, he knows about businesses, and there's nobody better to learn about businesses than a person who's made money investing in businesses, because he can see the right and wrong with businesses. I think Warren Buffett would be a good person, to have. But I always like meeting older people because they just have so much more. They have a way of, getting their point across, and that's why I would love to, meet with Warren Buffett. I did have an opportunity last year, which I messed up. But anyways.
Perfect. Well, Anmol, again, thanks so much for coming on. As I mentioned, for everybody listening in, we'll have links to where you can find Anmol in the show notes. And again, thanks so much for listening in. Be sure to subscribe to us, InnerSuccessRadio.com. We're constantly making updates to the website. We're also on Facebook at Inner Success Radio. We're on Instagram at Inner Success Radio and Twitter at Inner Success RAD, Inner Success RAD. And again, be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and more recently, iHeartRadio. And until next episode, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.
Woo!